Well, boys, we have a new leader in the Premier League. I feel like I'm saying this every week. And who better to bring on than Joel to talk about it? This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends, normally four friends this week, who all support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight, that is Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down right beneath me is Sean. He supports Tottenham. And then diagonally that way, that's Joel. He supports Newcastle. Welcome back, Joel. Hello.
Howdy. How are we all? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing great personally. I don't know.
Why did you present the lead in like Newcastle took the lead of the league?
Well, because you got to keep it fresh. I don't want it to all be about me.
Listen, there's a lot of false advertising going on in this economy, and I don't
Sean,
want to be.
He's talking about the leader of the win-lose-draw league, right?
Oh,
right.
Well, we'll have to find out about that on the next episode.
Yeah.
So
shots fired at Sean Stradamus.
With that said, what we've got on offer this evening or today for you in this episode, we are reviewing the final games in match week 30. Maybe that's match week 31. It's the midweek games from last week. 31. Brad's nodding 31. I
tried to change it to 31 last week on the notes, and you wouldn't let me. So that's why you got confused today. But it's okay.
I don't let you do anything, Brad. And then we'll be talking about the weekend fixtures that just took place. And I don't know if we'll have time, but someone might have a comment about Harry Kane at the end here. Possibly. I don't know who it could be, but it might be someone. But before we dig in too deep, if you are new here, if you just stumble across us, if you could hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment down below. If you're on one of the podcast sites, if you could follow, 5-star review, all that stuff. Brad, would you say our Spotify rating is at right now?
We are at 4.5 stars. So if you are on Spotify, we have over 30 listeners, but only 6 of you guys have hit that 5 stars. So a couple more of you guys can hit that 5-star.
And apparently that would
be huge for us.
Someone didn't hit the 5 stars.
So that's why we need more people to hit them 5 stars.
But if you could do all those things for us, hit the share button and share this to your social media. Send it to your friends, send it to your mother, send it to your brother, all those people. They would love to hear from us. It's been a while since they've heard from us. And so you should bless their text message in basket with Red Card Radio. All right. So let's get into it. There's a comment here that we need to get into, and it's from none other than Joel, and he'll have to defend himself in a moment. And it's pointed at one of us, and that person is Sean. He's down for a championship conversation. He watched 7 seasons of the championship football with Reading. So This is our moment. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. This is Red Card Radio, English Football League Championship Division.
Joel,
Go.
How fun is this championship league? We've got 1 point separating 1 through 3 at the top. We've got if you take away Rotherham, you've got 1 point separating. 2 points are getting relegated. It's really tight down at the bottom as well. It's a really exciting league.
15th and below.
How tight is it, Sean?
We've been through how tight that could possibly be. But it's really fun. And 2 weekends ago, Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich all go in separated also by a point, the 3 of them. They go into the weekend all having away games. One of them wins, one of them draws, one of them loses. They go into the midweek game. The one that won lost. The other 2 that didn't get results won. They go into the weekend games, and here we are scrambled up again. And we're still separated by a point, and Leicester lost today.
Yeah. It's an epic season. The championship is probably the most entertaining league out there, I think. I mean, there's pure chaos at times. And it's great. And you got Ipswich Town battling, 2 teams that should be in the Premier League. And you got Ipswich battling them tooth and nail. It's great. I hope Ipswich go up. I want them to go up.
But if Ipswich go
I-
up, are they just gonna be Sheffield United but worse, or like Luton Town but
No,
worse?
because I mean, if I don't know if you guys remember, but like when Stoke got promoted, they were like they'd never been in the Premier League at that time,
Yeah.
and then they established themselves as a mid-table-ish
Sure.
team for a number of years.
And now they're where they
Uh,
belong.
now they're back down, but I mean, at some point, teams who come up can stay established in there. It happens,
I mean, you
and
look
I
at
think
Brentford, like obviously like Brentford, Brighton over the last 5 years or so. Like Brighton for sure. They've come up and they've certainly established themselves
Mhm.
as a perennial mid-table team. So
yeah, Wolves as well. They were. I mean, back when I was watching Reading in the Championship, Brighton were in the Championship. Wolves were down there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of teams in the Premier League over the last few years that like were in the Championship and then established Premier League teams. So, who's to say Ipswich can't do that?
fair.
Sure, and we're all rooting for them to come up and stay. We love some new blood in the Premier League, but there are historical references, and I've brought this up on the podcast before of when Burnley first came up, and it was their first promotion. I believe it was 2011, 12, somewhere in that area. They didn't take that money and apply it to the team at all. They took that money and applied it to the stadium and just did upgrades and facilities upgrades and everything they needed to do off the field, and just basically understood, yeah, we're probably going to take a beating all year anyway. Whether we add to the team or not, probably going to get relegated. And then they go back and get relegated. They take the same team and come back up the year later. So they come up, they improve the stadium, they go back down, they come back up the following year, and then they improve the team and they stay for a while up until they got relegated recently, and now they're back up. But maybe that's a situation. Maybe Ipswich, they haven't been up. Maybe they take it as an opportunity to upgrade facilities or whatever they need to do around, and maybe they just take an L for the year. But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, Ipswich could go down as like be as bad as Burnley and Sheffield United, or they could be. I mean, when Reading first went up in 2000, their first season was 05, 06, or 06, 07, one of those when they first got in the Premier League. They finished like 7th or 8th in their first season. And I think Wigan did the same thing back in like 2004, 2005. Wigan's
that
first
sounds right.
season, they were the top half, and then second season they struggled on big time, but Reading did anyway, especially. But you never know
Do you
how it could play.
What?
do you
Hey.
think that's possible though in 2024 with just like the way that the money has so like stratified the
Yeah,
big clubs in England? Like
I'm not saying Ipswich, if they come up, could.
yeah, I'm not saying specifically. I'm just wondering like do you see could you see a system or like see a team, and you don't have to pick a team, but like in this modern Premier League, like the one that we're experiencing right now, like is there really a pathway to a top half finish for a newly promoted team?
Yeah, Leicester City won the league in 2016,
Well, I
and
don't
they
think,
were
but
relegated. They came from the Championship 2 years prior.
I think it's even more different now. Like
Well,
Maybe, but 8 years isn't
Well,
that. I mean, you still had City, who were the
but
richest in the world. You
it,
still had Chelsea. You had
well,
Man United, all Arsenal,
well, no,
Spurs.
it happened 2 years ago.
yeah,
At
Brentford.
Fulham.
Well, but Fulham don't count.
Brentford. Oh, the two years prior to that. So
Fulham don't count.
Brentford come up. They finish top half. Fulham come up with Mitrovic. They finish top half. So you can't say it's impossible.
I'm rejecting
it took-
Fulham. I'm rejecting Fulham because Fulham.
Why are
is-
you rejecting
because
Fulham?
they have been
took
in the
them
Premier League.
3 times
They
to
have-
get back up from the championship.
They have been in
It
the
was
Premier
a
League
running
for,
joke. It was a running joke that Fulham and Norwich would just teeter-totter forever. They would just
Bruh.
never play each other because one would be in the championship and one would be in the Premier League.
I mean like a team that hasn't been in the Premier League for a long time or been in the first division
Okay.
for a long time.
Or ever.
or
or
ever.
ever.
Like
Yeah.
like Nottingham Forest
Yeah.
when they came back up. Like I just wonder like because when you talk about a top half finish, you automatically discount the top 6, right? The big 6, let's say. But then you also have Newcastle, you have West Ham, you have Aston Villa, you have Brighton now. Like that, right there, I just named there. That's 10 teams there, 10 clubs that like all are fighting and legitimately feel when they start the season could have a shot at the European places at least, right? And like that's 10 teams, and then you're talking about like a team coming from the championship and like trying to inject themselves there. I think it's such a tall order now.
It is a tall order,
Speaking
but I
of-
don't think it's impossible because I genuinely I go back to Leicester and I know it was 8 years ago, but I don't think it's that far removed from what we're seeing today. Just because you still had the big six and they were the big six, and Leicester beat them all over 38 games, and they were in the Championship 2 years prior to that. It's possible, but it's like 5,000 to 1 odds, like Leicester was.
Fair.
It's next.
Speaking of a lot of teams and few amount of spaces, from third to sixth is the really important part. And you would imagine that between Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, one of them is absolutely safe. I feel like it's impossible to catch any one of them. Maybe Southampton, but from there, you were talking 15 points. It's not going to happen. So you've got Ipswich, Southampton, West Brom, and Norwich. Joel, if the season were to end today, no, let me reverse it. Let me put Leeds and Ipswich spots because they're level on points. It's Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, Norwich, and Ipswich is safe. They're automatically promoted. Which of those four would you like to see back?
There are 4 teams that are historically Premier League teams, like they've been in the Premier League recently.
Yeah,
I'd take Leeds purely for the atmosphere of the games, and they are history. Leeds are a huge team. They're still a huge club. So I'd take Leeds. I think Southampton, West Brom, and Norwich are just.
I will.
Yeah.
There's an old saying in college sports too that college football is better when Miami football is good. It's good to hate them. It's good to have that big team and that big fan base as a part of it. College basketball is good when Duke is good and the Cameron Crazies are doing their thing. The Premier League is better for having Ellen Road rocking for Leeds games.
Yeah, I just think where if Leeds are in the Premier League, everyone looks forward to an away game at Leeds. I don't think any team gets Norwich away, proper up for this, you know. Like,
Yes. That's what I mean. The league is better for having Ellen Road in it.
so I'd
And
take
we
Leeds.
know Norwich isn't coming up because Fulham isn't going down. So
That's what I just said earlier. That's a running joke. Anyway, Brad, which one do you want?
out of those, I think I'm with Joel too with Leeds. It's a Chelsea rival, and I want rivalries in there. That sounds like fun.
All right.
The old school Chelsea rivalry. James looks confused.
I have a soft spot for Southampton.
Okay.
So I like.
Why?
Well,
Pochettino,
Arsenal
Ward-Prowse.
Arsenal have signed a few players from Southampton. Theo Walcott.
Yeah.
Victor Wanyama.
So I don't know.
I tell you what will be a travesty though this season in the Championship is that whoever finishes third, Leicester or Ipswich, if one of those don't go up, because the playoffs, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be rough on whichever team. If they finish third and don't go up,
that's probably going to be a record, right, for most points to not go up.
Maybe.
I'll say it's like 91. I got Google this. All right. I love my Googles.
All right. We should.
We
get back to the.
That horse is dead.
It was a good conversation. I like it. But we were. You said a second ago. Speaking of a couple teams and few points separating them, I thought you were transitioning to talk about the title race in the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
Oh well,
I was focused on the championship.
We have 3 teams separated by 1 point. So that's Liverpool and Arsenal are tied on 71 points. Manchester City is behind 1 point on 70 points. We got a whole big goal difference battle going on. I think Arsenal are 8 up on Liverpool, so Arsenal sit top of the league at the moment. All have 7 games to play. I think it's the closest title race I've seen in years.
Yes, because a third team in there as well. The last few years, it's just been 2 teams, and now we've got 3. So, yeah.
Did you guys coming into this year think that we would have a 3-horse race for the title?
Yeah. It wouldn't have surprised me. I didn't. If there was a 3-horse race, I didn't think it'd be this close with this many games left. But I think Arsenal were always going to challenge, and I thought Liverpool were always going to challenge. I thought City were always going to challenge. So.
because
I think if I was dishonest with myself, I thought Tottenham would be that third. If I was dishonest with myself, you always
well, especially after the first
like
10
you want to
games.
be there, and Chelsea thinks, yeah, especially after the first 10. I thought, yeah, if you would have told me at the beginning of October, there's going to be a 3-horse race with 1 point separating them with 8 to play, I would have said, oh yeah, Tottenham's definitely there. We're leading the league. We're undefeated. Like, why wouldn't I have thought, right?
Yeah.
But here we are. We're not. we're battling for fifth.
You guys are trying.
Fourth.
You're trying hard not to be fourth.
Yes.
This is the clown fiesta for like who can.
Hey, listen. So is Villa. They're trying hard not to be fourth.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think it's been impressive. Obviously, I think the most impressive turnaround for all these three teams is Liverpool. Those signings that they've made in midfield have really revolutionized their team, and it was overnight.
Yeah.
It was really just Szoboszlai being put in with McAllister. And McAllister is incredible.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize once he was put around talent, he would be the same thing, only much better. Some of those guys go from Brighton to a new club. There's the outliers like Trossard, like Ben White.
What about Caicedo?
We knew that one was coming.
Yeah. There's outliers when they get put around talent that they perform up to what you think they're going to. And McAllister's been absolutely incrediable for Klopp.
I think Arsenal have made the best signing of the season though with Declan Rice. I don't
disagree.
Liverpool have improved their midfield, but Arsenal, like Rice, has made a world of difference for them.
And the thing about Rice is like you don't talk about him and like the transfer like you never it's never mentioned that he was £100 million player. Like that doesn't get brought up. It gets brought up for Caicedo, it gets brought up for Fernandez, but it doesn't get brought up for Rice because he's justifying it. And every week he's putting in a shift, like an important shift, and they're leading the league. And so I think that
I would say
I would.
You push back on that, Brad. Yeah.
I think both Sean and I both push back, and I think it might be a similar reason. I'm not saying Rice was not a good signing. Right? Like I want to be clear. Like I think Rice was an excellent signing. I think he showed his value.
Is he about to say Cole Palmer?
Of course, I'm going to say Palmer. Anyways, I want to make my argument on why on Declan Rice though, is that where was Arsenal this point last year, but without Declan Rice?
At this point in the season, we're still first. Yeah.
Okay. So how much of a transition? How much of a change is it? If you're still if you're still first,
if Arsenal win the league, will you because that step from going like we're close to challenging
to winning
that step is a big step.
Sure.
It was at this point last season Arsenal was starting to crumble. And
this is the week where it was the quarterfinal week of Europe where we lost Saliba. And so we were in the quarterfinal of the Europa League last year. We lost Saliba and the wheels fell off the bus, right? And so
I don't see Arsenal falling off. I don't see Arsenal falling away at all. I think even
let's say Saliba. Let's say they lose Saliba. Do you see that happening?
You're asking me or James?
Yeah. No, you, Joel.
I don't know.
Saliba goes down.
I hope they don't lose Saliba because I really want it to be a tight title race. But I just don't. I think Rice has just every game he puts in a solid 8 out of 10, and I think Arsenal were missing that last year in their centre midfield, like a proper. This defense isn't getting touched because the midfield is not going to let it happen type thing. They didn't have that last year as much at all. Like they didn't concede the least amount of goals last season.
No, our defense is vastly improved this year.
And I don't think that's just because of Gabriel and Saliba. I think Declan Rice plays a huge part in that.
I agree. In
the way that the midfield's organised. And so I just think he's one of the best centre defensive midfielders in the world. And I think I hope he's in. Part of me hopes he has the Premier League under his belt going into the Euros. I think that'd be amazing. But
here's what I was going to argue. you said the most important signing. I don't think I would push back on that. But if you would take it to American terms of a most valuable signing,
Go
I don't
on.
think it's any question that it's James Madison. How different of a club we are with and without him, and that makes him the most valuable signing because of a night and day when we are with and without him. Doesn't make it the best signing. I'm not saying he's a better player or we're in a better position because he's better than Declan Rice, or I'm not splitting hairs that way. But most valuable, James Madison makes Tottenham a better club because of his value to the team.
That's an interesting conversation because when you get into
Joel's laughing.
when you get into value,
He's trying to be as serious as he could be too. That's
then
funny.
you also have to wait like their transfer fee, right? Because like
Sure.
if James Madison cost £100 million, obviously he didn't. What was he, like 40? Because he was cheap, relatively cheap. That makes his value for the pound.
I wouldn't even go on that deep. I was just going
just
value
saying.
to the team. But
Yeah.
if you talk about like bang for the buck, it's got to be Madison.
I don't know. Take Cole.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Take Cole Palmer out of Chelsea, and Chelsea are probably like 15.
Relegation. Yeah, 15, 16.
So
That's
like,
100%.
you want to talk about
No,
most
someone
valuable.
no, they're exactly where they are because someone else is going to take the penalties that he scores, and they're going to score that too.
Wait, have you seen?
No, they're
Sky?
exactly
Wait.
where they would be
No.
because somebody else is converting those penalties. Get out of here.
No. There's only one other person that's converted a penalty for Chelsea.
16 goals. That's like 43% of his goals are penalty. I'm not arguing this.
You were really
The other 3 people to take penalties have missed.
Didn't Fernandes take penalties for you guys this year?
Fernandes missed. Sterling missed twice. Fernandes missed.
Is Jackson taking a
hit
penalty?
his? No, Jackson hasn't taken any.
Oh, he's the best striker in the league, I thought.
Just have
I never
Thiago.
said that.
Just have Thiago Silva take him.
Bro, he's on the bench most of the games now.
I'm just saying.
He needs to come
All
back
right.
in.
We're going to talk about this Newcastle game or what?
I think we should. I think we ought to.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
You were pessimistic about this game, Joel.
I was, because we came off the back of a 1-1 draw at home to Everton, conceded a late penalty. I don't know if any of you watched that, but we went 2-0 up, and it was like an offside goal. VAR called it back. We were just all over them for most of the game, and we just didn't put it to bed. It was just one of those deflating, like, 1-1. Now we've got to play again in a few days. Go travel all the way down to London with a completely depleted squad. It's just one of those games where Fulham are going to win. That's just how I thought it would go, because we're just the relentless and never-ending injuries. I just thought, no, we're going to lose. And to be honest, Fulham battered us in the first half. But we settled down, and VAR ruled out a goal for no particular reason for us. But then thankfully Bruno scored with 10 minutes left, and huge win because it puts us, we're 8th, and I'm just looking at the table. Got a game in hand over West Ham, 1 point behind, 3 points behind Man United with a better goal difference, and they're in 6th. So, 2 points behind Man United. We've still got to go to Old Trafford as well. So. Every other game, I'm like, we can get Europe, and then the next game, I'm like, Eddie Howe out.
Sometimes you have that
in the same half.
Yeah, you might have different feelings depending on the half of the game. Yeah.
Well, you remember on your last visit, I said we talked about manager of the year, and it's probably going to go to Arteta, or it's going to go to Pep or Klopp or whoever. But Eddie Howe deserves it.
No. If Everton stay up, Sean Dyche deserves it.
No, he does not.
No way.
No, he doesn't. Eddie Howe doesn't deserve it. But
The only one
points.
The only way I was concede a lower half manager winning it is Luton.
Yeah, if Luton stay up, if whoever wins the league, that manager doesn't win it, then.
But I said Eddie Howe. If you guys make Europa, Eddie Howe should win it with the laundry list of injuries.
Yeah.
It should be Eddie Howe to navigate that with what was put in front of him.
What if Chelsea make Europa then?
Yeah, what if Chelsea makes Europa?
Should it be Pochettino at that point?
Chelsea
the
make
difference is
Go on,
The
Sean.
difference is
dif-
what, John?
the difference is, Brad, that you have 1,300 players at Cobham.
All injured.
You've injured
Same
all,
as Newcastle.
You've injured all the children. Why are you injuring the children?
Yes. It's part of a ritual to
You-
stave off the injury.
You
bug.
have three full.
It's dark,
You have
bro.
three first. You have three tiers in your depth chart.
And
Newcastle
all
does
of them
not.
are taken out.
The fact that we're talking about Chelsea, like comparing Chelsea to Newcastle, says a lot. Like
Yeah.
Chelsea should be Chelsea, the club you would expect to be challenging for the Premier League, and now we're talking like, oh, if Chelsea get Europa League, give them manager of the season. Like,
No. That wasn't what that wasn't at all what either of us was saying. We were saying
Okay.
Sean's point
Yeah.
that if Eddie Howe deserves manager of the year for getting Newcastle Europa League with all the injuries that Newcastle has had, how does Poch not deserve that for
Yeah.
all the injuries Chelsea has had?
It seems like
Were
Because
you
Chelsea-
guys in the relegation zone as of December of 2 years ago?
Last year.
we're talking about this year, bro. We're talking about this.
But that
year.
doesn't matter. Like, yeah, how are you saying like a whole? Then cool. Then just give it to Pep every year. Like,
Okay,
if you're
it's
talking
not-
history, like that's just stupid.
You think it's
Alright.
Chelsea? Chelsea should be challenging for the league title,
I agree.
right? Like, and
Like-
Chelsea has spent £1 billion. They should be producing,
Again.
regardless of how many injuries they have. Their squad depth should be off the charts, but it's absolutely terrible. So, like, Chelsea do not deserve any awards for finishing whatever league position.
I think we agree with you. I think the only we were just
We were
we were
pushing-
contrasting Sean's logic and we were applying it in another way.
I get it. I still think Eddie Howe's done a way better job than Mauricio Pochettino.
I agree. And the squad at Newcastle is obviously smaller. So like that's there's less to pick from. I think so like that but if we want to take the injured team qualification, I think you'd also have to want to throw Manchester United into that because Manchester United have also had a lot of injuries and they will almost certainly qualify for the Europa League. So I mean we could make a case for a number of managers. It's probably going to be Jurgen Klopp just because he's leaving. You know.
Oh yeah.
No, I think regardless of how the title ends, I think Arteta will win Manager of the Year at this point. That's my prediction.
Is
I mean,
PGMOL voting?
I think it depends on how we finish. I mean, if Arsenal like win the league, I think it's a shoo-in because especially if you look at our form in 2024, we have picked up 31 out of 33 available points in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Since January. Like that's insane. And the only drop points we have so far is a draw away against Manchester City. Like that's insane form. So I obviously if we win the league, I think you kind of have to go with Arteta, but
yeah, I do agree with Sean that Rob whoever said it, Luton's manager, Rob Edwards would
I
be.
think it's Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to end this conversation with a bit of levity. Brad threw around the word stupid just a minute ago. And so like it started getting a little aggressive. And so can we just all collectively as a group just have a quick chuckle at Chelsea Football Club's ability to beat Manchester United in the 101st minute or whatever it was, and then turn around 3 days later and lose a victory, draw against Sheffield United in the 93rd minute. Brad,
Listen,
has your head stopped spinning yet?
No. But listen, both games can be are like there's two statements here. Well, there's one statement here, but it went two different ways.
Wait,
both games were. Oh, sorry. Both games start with we snatched. Both end with from victory. So the Chelsea United game, we snatched a victory from victory because we should have won. We scored 2 goals fast. We were in control of the game. Then a stupid defensive error spirals out of control. 3 fast break goals. 2, I think all 3 were errors. Yeah, all 3 were errors, and we couldn't get back on defense. But we scored 4. So yay. So we snatched victory from victory. And then we snatched a draw from victory at the Sheffield game. Again, went up 2 goals. Well, went up twice. Sorry, 1-0. 1-1, 2-1. Last minute, we just need to head the ball out. Just get the ball out of the box and don't let McBurney have it right in front of the net to get the 3 points.
Yeah, you did a absolutely horrible job clearing your lines against Sheffield.
Terrible.
But
And
I mean, like,
had we done that, then we're a point behind Newcastle with 2 games in hand.
okay, but
We're 4 points behind United with a game in hand and a game against them, I think.
But if Manchester United just don't fall asleep on the final corner of the match, then then they walk away with a point instead of none. Or if because you guys they gave up a penalty super late.
Yes.
Like that was, and wasn't that penalty kind of soft?
Yeah, there was enough contact.
There was a question about whether or not it was going to get overturned, right?
There was a huge question. Yeah, it took forever. Dallet hit Maduke's foot. Maduke took 2 steps and then went down. But also Dallet also reaches his hand up and like nails his thigh, and then he falls down. So like,
oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Like Dallet tripped himself on Maduke's foot.
When they were showing us the replays, I legitimately thought they were going to overturn it.
So did I.
When I saw it live, I was like, that's a penalty, Stonewall. And even the first couple replays, I was like, yeah, that's a penalty. But then they kept showing it to me, and I was like, if I watch this enough time, I'm going to convince myself this is not a penalty.
And that's what I thought was going to happen. That's 100% what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it didn't. And Cole Palmer knocked it home for his brace. And 2 minutes later, Cole Palmer, Cole World, gets his first hat trick in a Chelsea jersey. And the only person, the only person that was awake for the corner was Mason Mount. And in true,
keep going.
In true Manchester United fashion, the last minute goal has to go off of McTominay.
Why was Enzo Fernandez so mouthy towards Mason Mount?
Right?
Like,
Mason Mount shoved somebody and was like did something earlier.
So why was Fernandez calling him a coward?
Because he left.
Because of the conversation that they were having, and when he he kicked the ball and pushed somebody. I believe I saw. I'm sorry, this was like a week ago that we're recording this on there, but there was an incident that happened prior to it that Enzo was standing up for his teammates.
It seems to me that he got real chirpy once they took the lead, and that before they took the lead, he was not so chirpy.
No. It was during a free kick on the ball was on the Chelsea side. Something happened there.
But I guess what I'm saying is that
but it was before that.
Then Fernandez started jogging, calling him a coward. Like
you saw the continuation, the end of it. Like it started when I think it was 3-2.
Okay.
And like Mount kicked the ball away or something like that. I think I forget, but there was an incident that caused that.
Really quick question for you all. For James and Sean. Fully fit squads. Would you take Cole Palmer in Arsenal's or Spurs 11?
Starting 11, no. He could be I would take him as a bench player for sure.
It's really like James Maddison.
See. Right now, I would probably say no, but I would rather have him on the team because he's like 20. So Madison's 28, 29. Like he's probably only got a few more years left. So yeah, I would love to have Cole Palmer, but
he would not start for Arsenal. I don't think he starts for Tottenham.
For the rest of the season, I don't think he starts for Tottenham either.
Like right now, I'd love him at Newcastle fit because half of our squad's like we've got
absolutely.
You have extenuating circumstances.
If we've got Guimaraes, Tonali, Joelinton fit, I think I'd take Tonali over Cole Palmer. Or
two different roles. That's two way different roles.
Yeah, but I think you just named a six,
Tonali's all like
an 8, and then Joe Linton would be your 10. So Palmer's a 10.
Our three centre midfielders, they wrote like Bruno drops deep, goes forward. Joe Linton drops deep, goes forward. Tonali does the same thing. Like I just don't. I think
Palmer's a right forward 10. So no, he's not starting over Saka, but he's probably starting over Kulusevski.
So
Cole Palmer's a winger.
You're putting
Cole Palmer's been playing on the right.
He's putting Cole Palmer in the right-sided forward 3.
He's not starting
So-
over
so
Brendan Johnson. No.
They're playing a
Well,
4-3.
yeah,
You're absolutely crazy. Yes, he is. He's starting over both of them. He's not starting at Arsenal, but he's starting over Brendan Johnson and he's starting over Kulusevski. You're
If,
blinded.
okay,
That's okay.
if he's a right winger, yeah, he's starting over Miguel Almiron, but for the net, like
Your argument, Brad, is that he's the third best right winger in the league because he's not starting over Saka. He's not starting over Salah. But is there anyone else? Maybe Foden. He's not starting over Foden.
Probably
Maybe
keeps
he's
him.
fourth. Is he starting over Jared Bowen?
Ooh. I don't know.
Not on form.
That's close. What do you mean not on form?
Jared Bowen's having a great year. What are you talking about?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
He's scoring goals from open play.
So is Palmer.
I mean, a couple.
That's what I'm looking up right now. Is how many goals Brendan Johnson have because none of them are from the spot.
Well, that's because you guys don't get.
That's what I'm looking up.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, I think that's maybe a good place, and maybe you could chime in the comments of this video and let us know if you think that where you think Cole Palmer fits in the hierarchy of right wingers. But I also don't think he's a right winger. I think. Yeah, so I think that's just where Pochettino plays him to get the right people onto the field. But I think that's all we got. We're gonna get out of here. So if you could drop a comment down below, like, subscribe, follow, all those good things. Hit us up on Twitter. The guy on the top row with me, that's at KSBradG. Right below me is at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany, and that is at Joel Findley16 on X, I believe. And you can reach us all collectively at redcard_radio, info.redcardradio@gmail.com if you wish to opine. But we will be back later this week, tomorrow, with our picks. We've got to reconcile where everyone is in the picks table and then pick match week 33. So you'll want to tune in for that. But until that time, I hope you all have a good one, and we will see you all soon.